Hello guys, so in this video we will see some of the basic topics which you need to prepare for any Java based interview. I have divided this video into different sections. Let's get started. And we will see questions based on different levels of experience. So if I mention 0 plus, that means that everybody who wants to give an interview in Java should be knowing these concepts. And suppose if I have mentioned 4 plus, which means if you have an experience of around 3 to 4 years, so you must be knowing these a bit of advanced concepts as well. Also, these are the topics or concepts which I have collected with my experience. Okay, these do not belong to any specific company which I have worked for. So this is just by my experience and knowledge in Java. Okay, let's quickly get started. So starting with the basics, okay, so as you know, you will have to know what are the basic OOPS concepts. Okay, what is inheritance, like abstraction, polymorphism, encapsulation, and all those concepts are mandatory. If you are a fresher or even if you are experienced, you will have to just brush up on those. And then you need to learn about like how multiple inheritance is possible in Java and what are the various access modifiers, the concept behind immutability, so mainly around string, but basically you can understand, like try to understand what exactly is immutability. And then the features of a main method, like can we overload it, what is the basic structure of a main method, why is it static, can we have a different name for that method. So all those questions you can go through for this topic. And then you can also understand what is upcasting and downcasting of reference variables. Okay, questions around that. And then about the final keyword. And also I would include here abstract. Okay, abstract and final keywords. And then what is overloading and overriding and string related questions. So you might be asked some basic questions on string manipulation, and like you need to know about a string buffer, string builder. Yeah, as I mentioned, problems on strings and arrays, like basic problems you can go through. And then regarding these enhanced for loops. Okay, and coming to people who are like 4+ years of experience, so you need to know how to create an immutable class, or as well as a singleton class, and why exactly immutability is needed, and what is the wait, notify, and notify all, which are there in the object class. So what is the use of these? Then the comparable, what is comparable, and with a user defined object, so how can we create a comparable, and how Java works internally. So this is somewhat important to overall, not just for the interview, just to understand how Java works and how to get a nice grip on all the concepts of Java. So in this you can, if you're just starting to learn about it, you can learn about the class loaders, and then what is like cloning a class in Java. Okay, some concepts around that. So coming to interface, we have already seen like what is multiple inheritance you need to know, and what are the functional interfaces in Java 8 which are introduced. So Java 8 concepts are really important, and like moving on, you'll also need to have a good grasp of Java 11, 17 as well. But basically you will have to know about these at least to the minimum if you are 0 plus. And then what is a marker interface if you have a little experience with Java, and what is a diamond problem and how that can be resolved. Moving on to garbage collection. So if you are like a fresher, you can understand what are the different memory spaces which Java uses, like what are where are the classes, variables, static variables, instance variables are stored in memory, how they are stored, and also how we can trigger and execute garbage collection, and what happens, like does it actually execute or it doesn't execute, what is the basic idea behind garbage collection, this you can understand. And if you have a bit of experience with Java, so there are some new features added in Java 8 for garbage collection and above versions, so you can just go and check those out. And also the difference between serial and parallel garbage collection, how do we set the minimum and maximum memory in the properties before starting the application. So all those are basic things which you should be already aware of if you have around 4+ years of experience with Java. And if you are even more experienced, like around 6+ years, so you need to know what is a heap dump and a thread dump, okay, and how you can implement garbage collection internally. But I think this one is like a more advanced question, so even if you cannot do it with 6 years of experience, like you can try to understand it even when you are like 10+ years of experience. So now moving on to the next topic, that is threads. So this is like the most dreaded topic for most of us, I believe, at least for me it is. Okay, so if you are a fresher, you just need to know what is a volatile keyword, difference between sleep and wait, and by using which method thread will acquire and release lock. So basically the lock mechanism, how it works, different states of a thread. This I would say, if you cannot understand, you can just drop it, but if you can learn about the lock mechanism, that would be great. Like it would give you a better hand at answering the questions. And what are the different ways in which we can create a thread, okay, and what is synchronization, and what is the difference between a callable and a runnable. So these are some basic questions which you need to understand the concepts around. And then if you have like 4 years of experience with Java, so you need to know what is a deadlock and what it is and how to prevent it, and what are like the static and non-static methods with the synchronized keyword. Okay, so basically more detail on the synchronized keyword. And you also need to know some parts on like what is an executor service. You can practice some always practical examples will really help you to remember the concepts. And also the thread interaction, so how actually a thread interaction happens among the threads. And now if you have like more than 6 years of experience with Java, so you have a lot of advanced questions here, like you need to know how to odd even problem, like you can search for it. And I think I forgot to just remove it, just ignore this. And how to create a thread pool, cyclic barrier versus countdown latch, you can learn about that. What are like some lock concepts, also like thread pool executors, what is a catch thread pool, fixed thread pool, some questions on like what is exactly a policy, what is a default policy, what is a reject policy, and how to implement abort policy. It is a semaphore and a fairness parameter. So all these questions, like I said, if you are like already comfortable with the basics of thread, and if you have a working experience with thread, then you can go to the advanced questions. But if it is becoming too much for you to learn, then you can just like skip it instead of giving a stress on yourself. Okay, so these are just overall topics which I'm covering. But these like 0+ and 4+, you need to definitely know those topics. Now coming to serialization. So you need to basically understand what is serialization and deserialization, some use cases or examples where we can use it. What is the use of a transient keyword? So if you learn about serialization, this you'll obviously learn about the transient keyword. And if you have like some experience, then like when we do serialization and deserialization, there are some methods called, so you can understand what those methods are actually doing, and how you can change the behavior while deserializing or serializing. So there are some methods that you can go through, and then what is the use of a serial version or UID. So now coming to the most loved topic for Java, that is collections. So the collections framework. So if you are a fresher or of any experience, you should know the entire all the types, the hierarchy, etc. And what is like equals and hash code related questions, and also with respect to a map and a set. Okay, and if you have some experience, then you're definitely going to get many questions around collections. So it's better to know the underlying implementation of each collection, like internally which data structure that particular collection uses, and if that was changed in the later future, like the latest releases. Okay, and internal working of any collection you need to know, and which data structure to use in different scenarios, like which collection you can use in different scenarios. So what is a linked hash map, blocking queue, concurrent hash map, and like what is a red black tree, the internal structure and why choose it, like why this, what is the use of this method, and some problems like get minimum element, some problems, and a difference between a comparable and a comparator. Okay, and if you have like more experience, then you may be asked to implement your own iterator or internal working of maybe some advanced data structures, and difference between enumeration and iterator, like some advanced topics. So basically you need to know the internal working of the collection if you have at least like 4 years of experience, and yeah, and also where to use which collection, and some like problems you should be able to solve around collections. Yeah, moving forward to, I think this is the most easiest topic to learn. And like if you are a fresher, you need to know what are the types of exceptions, what is the use of try catch finally, which one we can use without which one. So you need to know that. What are the latest new try catch, the try block, the new one, try with resources, need to know what it is. And then like if you have some experience, you need to know how you can write your own expression, like what are multi-level exceptions, like multiple catch blocks can you have, or can you have a single catch block defining multiple exceptions, and what are the rules around that. And also when you're overriding, okay, so what are the rules for overriding exception, which are like related to the exception. Now coming to like some new features which you should be aware of, like if you have like if you're a fresher, Java 8, you need to know streams, functional interfaces, what are method references, and some basic problems on Java 8 you should be able to solve. And if you have like some experience, Java 8 for sure, and maybe you can also learn about the new features which are added probably in JDK 11, 17. Okay, and what is the signature of already existing functional interfaces. So I do have some videos on functional interfaces, you can go through that. And also like you need to understand like what a filter function takes input argument, and yeah, what are the different functions, like functional interfaces, what are their input arguments which they accept. Now if you have more experience into Java, so you basically need to know most of the latest features which are introduced, like 17 and the recent one just this week, the JDK 21. and also what do you mean by a long-term support release. So you just need to know more in depth about overall Java. So these are all the topics which you can consider for preparing for any Java based interview. So I just want to highlight here that these are just Java related topics which I have shared. So based on your profile, based on your resume, you might be asked more other topics related to database or Spring or CI/CD related if you have more experience. Okay, or security related questions. So that is based on your specific resume. So these questions are just related to the Java based topics. And apart from that, I wanted to just stress that so technically, even if you're good, if you know everything, but if you are not good at communication, or if you are not good at your dressing sense, like the other things, so the technical part maybe 10 to 20% only it matters, but the remaining 80% would be how you present yourself in the interview. So that is very much important. And before all of this, before even getting a call for an interview, you need to know how to write your resume, right? So all these things are very important. Yeah, so this was just related to Java. Apart from this, also there are other things which are very much important to get that job you want. All the best. See you later. Bye.